Welcome back. Untold Africa Stories is a series devoted to honoring, safeguarding and championing Africa's remarkable cultural legacy. It strives to forge enduring bonds with artists, communities and cultural entities, both within the continent and beyond. Through these connections, the goal is to cultivate opportunities for collaboration and partnership, as well as the celebration of the diverse contributions that weave the vibrant fabric of African culture. This year, the team embarks on a captivating journey in Southern Africa, exploring the untold stories of Mozambique for another documentary. And we're thrilled to have with us co-founder and producer Joseph Kafunda. Joseph, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Nina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
No complaint.
Joseph, could you elaborate on the relevance of untold African stories, especially in contemporary Africa?
Yes, Nina. When growing up, I grew up around older people who used to tell us stories, and we live through storytelling. They will tell you a story about a certain lions or a certain animals. They will tell you a story about a certain trees. They will tell you about a certain mountain that is surrounding the area. And the value that storytelling was adding to me, it made me realize later on that there is such a way that we can be able to document these stories and make the story become relevant to the future of Africa as a continent.
What sets apart this series in terms of its unique approach to storytelling?
The uniqueness of African Untold Story is that we create a story based on a certain character. And like currently we are in Mozambique, we are trying to create a synergy that has between the oceans and the people living in Mozambique. So by finding the right tune of the story, and we create a story based on that, so that people can be able to create a synergy or to find what is centric about the story or Untold African Stories. So that's what is unique about these African Untold Stories. It's not just any story or any documentary that we do out there and put it out there, narrate it. And also the uniqueness is that we are African people, we are narrating and documenting our own stories instead of someone else coming in and narrate the story for us and tell us our stories.
The project also involves collaboration with partners and creatives from various sectors. Joseph, why is it important for entities from different fields to come together in embracing African stories?
In our days, we don't talk it about any more collaboration. We talk about connectivity and networking. So you need to connect with everybody. And when bringing the different people on board on such a documentary, everybody bring in their A games. They tell you exactly how the story can be outlined, how can the story be able to be cooperated, and all those kind of things. And based on that, we have so many people on this project with different backgrounds. It creates that atmosphere of learning and listening and be educated at the same time. So that's why my network, or the network that I brought on Untold African Story, it's around Africa, because everybody comes from a different background and they can tell their story differently, because we are both Untold African Stories.
The second edition of Untold African Stories is currently being filmed in Mozambique, as you mentioned, and talk to us about how this project differs from the previous one.
Mozambique is a unique gem. It's an African untold story on its own. But comparing to other projects that we have done, like for Namibia, we knew exactly what we expected from Namibia. And coming to Mozambique, we find a completely different centric stories that is here. And trying to cultivate this story, it's not an easy one, but it's a tough one. But since we are here, we will definitely make sure that the documentary is produced and made into a way that we want to tell the stories. So Mozambique, it's in a diverse country, and I will tell everybody who wants to come to Mozambique, experience the culture, explore the untold African story of Mozambique.
In addition to your role as an executive producer, Joseph, you're well known for your work in the tourism sector as well. How does the act of, telling African stories contribute to preserving our heritage while simultaneously serving as a marketing platform for the tourism industry?
As a tour guide, what we normally do is go see the animals, try to go visit a little village, and try for the clients that you brought in or the tourists that you brought in, they take their pictures and they go. But what value do you urge to the people that you are visiting? So Untold African Story, it's about adding value to the people. We do have projects that we are trying to put on the table or in the process of creating those projects so that people can be able to participate. When you visit like the Yimba village, what are you contributing? But through Untold African Story, we can be able to say we will plant a tree for the Yimbas. So that I didn't see it in the tourism. I didn't see anybody donating or giving the people something without gaining anything. So for Untold African Story, we want to give back to the community without us looking back and say we want this community to do anything for us. We just want to support and assist everybody, of which we are talking about sustainable tourism here. Sustainable tourism, it's a key to the future of the tourism industry. And that is where African Untold Story with its partners or their partners going into. It's to create that sustainability so that people can be able to benefit not only today, but the future generation as well.
For those interested in pledging support, Joseph, or viewing episodes or seeking more information, how can they get in touch?
Definitely. You can be able to get in touch with the team. Our website is out there, www.untoldafricanstory.com. We have partners, different partners. We have people who are preserving the culture. There are people who are documenting the Untold African Story. We have tour operators. We have so many partners that we've brought on board. So you can get in touch with us through our emails or through our WhatsApp and pledge whatever you can be able to pledge. It's really important that such projects continue in Africa, because many of our downfall of projects in Africa is the lack of funding. So Untold African Story is also a new baby. It's a beginning of a new project. So any support that we get from anyone, it's always definitely more than welcome.
Joseph Kafunda, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us here on the Daily Roundup.
Thank you, Nina. Have a lovely evening.
You too. On that note, we wrap up today's edition